I dropped in the trailer first thing to check on her. Where's Am? Gambling? I said yeah, and he went out. It was raining harder again, a steady drumming on the canvas over my head, and the thunder was starting now. It was a low, far-off rumbling, and it was scary. You knew it was just clouds bumping together, but it didn't seem like that. It was more like an animal growling. Some big animal you couldn't identify by its voice, but that sounded as big as the night, and far away but deadly. I put on my raincoat and went out to the midway. The rain beat down on my hat like it was a drum, and the lot was beginning to get muddy. Luckily, though, the lot sloped off, and there wouldn't be any lakes of standing water, and shavings would take care of the mud. I crossed the midway and headed for the green trailer back of the freak show top. There was a light on, and when I rapped on the door, Lee Carey's voice called out for me to come in. He grinned at me and said, "Yeah, you can play the phono. I'm going out a while, though." "Any new records?" "A Jimmy Dorsey album. Some pretty good stuff." He put on a slicker and went out, and I plugged in the portable and played the Dorsey album. It was good stuff, but the thunder kept getting louder, and I couldn't concentrate on the music. I decided the hell with it and went out again. It was raining a lot harder, almost a cloudburst. I hurried back to our booth, and Uncle Am was there, standing in the lee of the popcorn wagon with an eye on our canvas. The wind was up, but not really dangerous. I stood with him until the rain slowed down and the wind with it, and Uncle Am went back to the G-top. The G-top, if you don't know, is the gambling tent that some of the big carnivals pitch for card games among the carnies themselves. Marks, outsiders, aren't allowed in. It's purely a family affair. I went with Uncle Am and watched him play rummy a while, but I didn't sit in. After a few hands, I went back to our sleeping tent. I was wet in spots under the raincoat, so I stripped and rubbed myself dry with a towel. It was while I was doing that the lights went out. Not only the bulb inside our tent, but all over Carney. I stuck my head out through the flap, and there was only utter pitch darkness everywhere. I swore a little and groped around until I found matches and lit the carbide lantern we kept for emergencies. I was getting into a dry pair of shorts when Uncle Am stuck his head into the tent. He said, "Are you okay, kid?" "Sure," I said. "What happened?" "The lightning hit some wires and fritzed the generator in the diesel car. They won't get it fixed tonight. Burned out all the windings. Storm's over, but it took a parting shot at us." When he left, I got my detective magazine and tried to read, but I kept getting sleepier and sleepier. The rain started up again, softly, and then died down. Over the soft drumming of the rain, I could hear a clock strike and a far train whistle. There was the faint sputter of the carbide lamp, the soft drone of the rain, and the dull story that couldn't keep me awake, and didn't. I don't believe I heard the shot. If I did, it was mixed up in whatever dreams I might have been having, and I don't remember it clearly. What woke me was Uncle Am's voice from the tent entrance. He called out, "You okay, Ed?" I sat up on the cot. I said, "Sure, what?" "There was a shot just now. I thought maybe—" He didn't finish it. He'd meant he thought I'd been messing around with a .32 he kept in his trunk, maybe, and had fired it accidentally. He stepped into the tent, and a big bulk loomed behind him. Hoagie, bending his neck so his head wouldn't scrape canvas. His voice rumbled, "Somebody says it came from the sideshow top. Going over, Am?" Apparently Uncle Am was, because suddenly I was alone in the tent, still dopey from sleep. I swung my feet off the cot and pulled on my boots. Outside now I could hear a lot of voices, and sloshing footsteps. There was no longer the sound of rain. I grabbed my raincoat and got into it. It felt cold and clammy against my bare skin. I hurried out, buttoning the coat as I went along the side of our ball game booth, out to the midway. There was still a fine drizzle of rain. There were others running or walking in the same direction. Most of them had flashlights. I'd been too sleepy to think of bringing one, forgetting the midway would be as dark as pitch. But by following the others, I managed to get across to the sideshow without falling over anything. I found the fence in front of the sideshow easily enough by running into it. I climbed over, groped my way to the canvas without tangling with any stakes, and went under the side wall. Inside there was a light, dancing irregular light from maybe 20 different flashlights, adding up to enough illumination to light the whole place.